The clock tower had stood for centuries, its rusted gears frozen in time, until tonight. Rain lashed against its cracked face as two shadows slipped through the broken door, unaware of what pulsed in the darkness above them. The artifact was supposed to be a myth. The Guardian was supposed to be dead. And the cult? Well, they weren't supposed to be waiting. But myths have a way of waking when you least expect it, and Elias and Lila were about to learn the hard way that some treasures don't want to be found. By dawn, the city would burn, or drown, or worse. And it was all their fault. Please wait. Before we start, tap that card in the top right corner and smash that subscribe button right now. Hit the notification bell so you're first in line when new stories land. Also, you can check the Alien Paradox playlist for more exciting stories. There's a question hidden in the pinned comment below. Crack the code by watching the complete story and answer the question. Alright, let's dive into the story. The ice wasn't supposed to scream. Dr. Elise Carter stumbled backward as her thermal torch flickered across the alien glacier surface. Blue veins pulsed beneath the frozen crust, throbbing like arteries in some colossal beast. Her scanner beeped frantically, its display flashing contradictory readings. Temperatures holding at -50 degrees Celsius, she muttered, breath crystallizing in the air. But the ice is definitely melting. Commander Marcus Holt adjusted his grip on the pulse rifle slung across his chest. His breath came in short, visible puffs as he scanned the cavern with military precision. Maybe it's reacting to the torch's energy signature? Elise shook her head. We've scanned this glacier 6 times. Nothing should, the ice groaned. Not the normal creak of shifting glaciers, but something disturbingly organic. A wet, cracking sound that echoed through the cavern like a breaking spine. Then came the voices. Help us. So cold. Elise? Marcus's rifle snapped up. What the hell was that? Elise's blood turned to ice. That last voice had been her name, spoken in her mother's tone, a woman who died light years away on Earth. Her scanner suddenly blared an alarm. We've got movement, 30 meters deep. The glacier's surface rippled like disturbed water, blue veins brightening to an eerie glow. The voices multiplied, dozens now, maybe hundreds, all speaking in perfect English with different accents. A cacophony of overlapping conversations filled the cavern. The experiment failed. They're watching us. Don't let it thaw completely. Marcus grabbed Elise's arm. We need to go. Now. A sharp crack split the air. Jagged fractures raced across the glacier's surface, spiderwebbing toward their boots. From within the deepening crevasses, mist began to rise, thick, blue, and swirling with shapes that almost looked human. Elise's scanner exploded with data. This isn't possible. The composition matches Earth's atmosphere exactly. The mist coalesced into a towering figure. A spacesuit emerged from the fog, vintage 21st century design. The NASA logo faded, but visible. The helmet visor was cracked. Inside, a face both familiar and impossible stared back at them. Dr. Carter, the figure rasped, its voice echoing strangely. You need to stop the thaw before they. Marcus fired. The pulse round tore through the figure, which dissolved in a swirling mist. The voices rose to a deafening shriek as the entire cavern trembled. Chunks of ice rained from the ceiling. Run! Marcus shoved Elise toward the tunnel. She took one last look at the glacier. The fractures had formed a pattern now, an intricate, almost technological design pulsing with that same unnatural blue light. And the voices kept calling her name. The ice wasn't just melting. It was waking up. The research base shook as the glacier's echoes chased them through the tunnels. Elise's boots slipped on ice that shouldn't have been wet, her breath coming in ragged gasps. The voices followed, whispering, laughing, sobbing, all in that same impossible chorus of Earth accents. Marcus slammed the containment door behind them, his face pale under the emergency lights. Report. He barked in his comm. Engineer Raj Patel's voice crackled through. Whole sectors going nuts. Atmospheric pressure spiking. Temperature sensors contradicting themselves. A new sound cut him off. Singing. A child's voice, clear as crystal, drifting through the vents. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Elise's blood ran cold. That's my niece's voice. From her birthday video call last week. Marcus's rifle clicked off safety. Impossible. No signals get through the ice field's interference. The base AI, Cal, interrupted over the PA. Unauthorized data stream detected. Source, Glacier Core 7. Raj burst into the corridor, his tablet displaying swirling fractal patterns. You're not going to believe this. The ice is emitting radio waves, perfectly modulated human speech patterns. Another tremor rocked the station. From the vents, blue mist curled like searching fingers. Elise grabbed Raj's tablet. These waveforms, they match human neural patterns. But the amplitude is all wrong. Elise, the whisper came from all directions at once. We remember your hands. Marcus's rifle swung wildly. Show yourself. The nearest monitor flickered to life, showing the cavern they'd just fled. The glacier's surface had completely liquefied, revealing a swirling blue vortex. Shapes moved within it, human silhouettes reaching toward the camera. Raj's fingers flew across his tablet. The composition is not water anymore. Some kind of quantum plasma maintaining perfect coherence. He froze. These molecular signatures, they matched the Pioneer 10 debris field. Elise's stomach dropped. Pioneer 10 had been lost near Jupiter 50 years ago. The lights dimmed as the PA system activated on its own. A voice from every speaker. Cal's usual synthetic tone now layered with something eerily human. Containment breach in Sector Blue. Iteration parameters compromised. Marcus's comm crackled with frantic reports from other teams. More voices. More melting ice. More figures in old-fashioned spacesuits. A new monitor lit up, showing the base's exterior cameras. The glacier wasn't just melting. It was reforming itself into geometric structures. Spires of ice twisted upward, their surfaces crawling with that same glowing circuitry pattern. Raj grabbed Elise's arm. The ice isn't storing voices. It's recreating people. Perfectly. From the vents, the mist thickened. A hand formed, translucent, glowing blue, its fingers flexing experimentally. Then an arm. A shoulder. The child's voice sang again, closer now. How I wonder what you are. Marcus raised his rifle as the first fully formed figure stepped through the wall. It was Raj, wearing a mission patch from a Mars expedition that hadn't launched yet. The dim glow of the streetlights flickered as rain pattered against the cobblestones, casting shimmering reflections in the puddles. Elias tightened his coat around him, his breath visible in the cold air. You sure this is the place? He muttered, eyeing the rundown tavern with suspicion. Lila smirked, adjusting the strap of her bag. What's the matter, Elias? Scared of a little adventure. Adventure? He scoffed. Last time you said that, we ended up chased by a pack of wild dogs. She rolled her eyes. Oh, come on. Those were just strays. This is different. Before Elias could retort, the tavern door creaked open, revealing a burly man with a scar running down his cheek. You two lost? He grunted, his voice rough as gravel. Lila flashed a grin. Not all. We're here to see Merrick. The man's expression darkened. Merrick, don't see anybody without an invite. Elias sighed, rubbing his temples. Great. Now what? Lila reached in her pocket and pulled out a small, tarnished coin. She tossed it to the man, who caught it midair. His eyes widened slightly before he stepped aside. Third booth. Don't cause trouble. As they stepped inside, the warmth of the tavern hit them, along with the smell of ale and roasted meat. The low hum of conversations filled the air, but Elias couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. I don't like this, he whispered. Lila nudged him. Relax. We're just here for information." They slid into the booth where a thin man with sharp features sat, sipping from a mug. "Took you long enough," Merrick said, his voice smooth but edged with impatience. Lila leaned forward. "We had to make sure we weren't followed." Merrick's lips curled into a smirk. "Smart, but time's running out. The artifact you're after? You're not the only ones looking." Elias frowned. "Who else? People with sharper knives and deeper pockets." Merrick took another sip. "If you want it, you'll have to move fast. Rumor has it it's hidden in the old clock tower, but it's guarded." Lila's eyes gleamed. "Guarded by what?" Merrick's smile faded. Something not entirely human. A silence fell over the table. Elias exhaled sharply. "Of course it is. Why would anything be simple?" Lila, however, looked thrilled. "Perfect. Makes it more fun." Merrick chuckled. "You got spirit, kid, but spirit won't save you from what's in that tower." He slid a folded map across the table. "Take this, and good luck. You'll need it." As they left the tavern, the rain had turned into a downpour. Elias glared at the sky. "I hate this city." Lila unfolded the map, her excitement undimmed. "Oh, stop whining. This is where it gets interesting." Elias groaned. "That's what I'm afraid of." The clock tower loomed in the distance, its silhouette cutting through the stormy sky. Whatever waited inside, one thing was certain. Their night was far from over. The narrow alley leading to the clock tower was slick with rain, the uneven stones threatening to trip them with every step. Elias squinted through the downpour, his grip tightening on the hilt of his dagger. "You ever think maybe some things are hidden for a reason?" Lila, several paces ahead, didn't even glance back. "Where's your sense of curiosity? This is history waiting to be uncovered." "Yeah, history that's probably cursed," he muttered. A sudden gust of wind howled through the alley, rattling the shutters of nearby buildings. Lila shivered but pressed on. Merrick said the tower's guarded. "You think it's traps? Or something alive?" Elias grimaced. "With our luck, both." They reached the base of the clock tower, its ancient bricks weathered and cracked. The massive oak door was slightly ajar, the darkness beyond swallowing the faint light from the street. Lila hesitated for only a second before pushing it open. The hinges groaned like a wounded beast. "Subtle," Elias deadpanned. She shot him a look. "You got a better idea?" Before he could answer, a low, guttural growl echoed from inside. Both froze. "That didn't sound mechanical," Elias whispered. Lila swallowed hard, but forced a grin. "Just stay behind me." "Oh, gladly." The interior was a maze of broken furniture and dust-covered machinery, the air thick with the scent of rust and something rotten. Moonlight filtered through the cracked clock face above, casting eerie shadows. Then they saw it. A hulking figure crouched near the far wall, its matted fur glistening with something darker than rain. Yellow eyes locked onto them. Elias barely breathed. "That's not a dog." The creature snarled, saliva dripping from jagged teeth. Lila slowly reached for her weapon. "Okay, new plan. Run." The beast lunged. They barely dodged, scrambling behind a pile of debris as claws tore through wood where they'd stood seconds before. Elias's heart hammered. "We're gonna die in a clock tower." "That's just poetic." Lila grabbed his arm, her voice urgent. "Up the stairs. Now." They bolted for the spiral staircase, the creature's enraged roars shaking the walls. Halfway up, Elias risked a glance back. The thing was gaining. Faster. Lila skidded onto the next landing, yanking him into a narrow service corridor. In here, they barely squeezed through before the beast slammed into the wall behind them, its claws scraping stone. Elias pressed his back against the door, breath ragged. "That thing's not giving up." Lila peered down the dim hallway. "Then we don't either." The artifact's got to be close. A faint blue glow pulsed from a room at the end of the corridor. Elias exhaled. Either that's our prize, or we're walking into a trap. Lila's grin was all teeth. Why not both? The creature's howl echoed through the tower as they moved toward the light. the game far from over. The blue glow pulsed like a slow, steady heartbeat as Elias and Lila crept toward the end of the corridor. The air grew colder with each step, their breath misting in front of them. You ever notice how the worst places always have the prettiest lights? Elias muttered, his fingers brushing the damp stone wall for balance. Lila shot him a sideways glance. Says the guy who once called a swamp charming. That swamp had character. A deep, guttural snarl echoed from behind them, the beast's claws scraping against the floor as it prowled closer. Lila quickened her pace. Less talking, more moving. They reached the doorway, its frame etched with strange, twisting symbols that seemed to shift under the flickering light. Inside, the source of the glow hovered above a pedestal, a jagged crystal humming with energy. Elias whistled low. That's either the most beautiful thing I've ever seen or the last thing we'll see. Lila stepped forward, eyes locked on the artifact. Only one way to find out. Before she could take another step, the floor trembled. The walls groaned as hidden gears ground to life, and with a deafening clank, iron bars slammed down over the doorway behind them. Elias whirled around. Oh, come on. Lila didn't flinch. Relax. Traps mean we're in the right place, or that we're about to be crushed, impaled, or a section of the wall slid open, revealing a row of rusted spikes now inching toward them. Impaled. Yeah, called it. Lila darted to the pedestal, examining the crystal. There's got to be a way to shut this down. Elias joined her, scanning the symbols. Maybe it's a puzzle? Like, insert the right thing to stop the death spikes. She tapped the pedestal. Or, we just take the crystal and run. The spikes were halfway across the room now. Elias gave her a flat look. You're joking. Lila flashed a grin. When have I ever joked about stealing ancient artifacts? With a quick motion, she snatched the crystal from its resting place. The moment it left the pedestal, the spikes jerked to a halt, but the ground beneath them gave way. Elias barely had time to yell before they dropped into darkness, landing hard on a pile of moldy sacks. The crystal's glow was the only light in what looked like an underground passage. Lila groaned, sitting up. Okay, that could have gone smoother. Elias rubbed his aching shoulder. Smoother? We fell through a trapdoor. Yeah, but we're alive, and we've got the prize. She held up the crystal triumphantly. A new sound cut through the silence, the skittering of countless legs. Elias went very still. Please tell me that's just rats. The glow illuminated dozens of gleaming eyes in the shadows. Lila's smile faded. Bigger than rats. Elias grabbed her arm. Run. Now. They bolted down the passage, the unseen creatures giving chase, their clicking and hissing filling the tunnel. The crystal's light bounced wildly as they sprinted, the exit nowhere in sight. Lila gasped between breaths. Next time, we stick to libraries. Elias didn't argue. The tunnel twisted sharply, the skittering horde gaining ground with every panicked step. Elias' lungs burned as he vaulted over a pile of broken masonry, the crystal's blue glow throwing frantic shadows against the damp walls. Got any brilliant ideas? He wheezed. Or are we just sprinting until something eats us? Lila clutched the artifact tighter, her boots splashing through murky puddles. There! She pointed ahead, where faint moonlight outlined a rusted grate. Sewer access. Elias didn't bother hiding his disgust. You're joking. We're jumping into. A chittering shriek cut him off as the first of the creatures lunged into the light. A grotesque hybrid of spider and scorpion, its barbed legs clicking against stone. Sewers it is. They crashed shoulder first into the grate, the rusted metal shrieking as it gave way. Icy water swallowed them whole as they plunged into the underground river below. Elias surfaced, gasping, the current already dragging them downstream. Lila spat out a mouthful of brackish water, still miraculously gripping the crystal. Told you it was a way out. You call this? A rotting fish bobbed against Elias' cheek. He gagged. A way out. The tunnel ceilings sloped upward, and the current spitting them into a wider channel where iron ladders led to surface drains. Lila grabbed one, hauling herself up with one hand. "Quit whining and climb." They emerged in a deserted market square, the pre-dawn air biting their soaked clothes. Elias collapsed onto the cobblestones, staring at the fading stars. "We're keeping the artifact. No more jobs. Ever." Lila shook water from her hair like a dog, examining the crystal. Its glow had dimmed to a soft pulse. "Huh, it's warm now." Elias sat up warily. "That's either magical or we're about to explode." Before she could respond, the crystal flared violently. Not blue, but crimson. A searing beam shot skyward, painting the clouds in bloody light. Somewhere in the distance, a chorus of unnatural howls answered. Lila's grin vanished. "Okay, that's new." Elias scrambled to his feet. "You activated a beacon? Not on purpose." Shutters banged open across the square as sleepy townsfolk peered out. A child's voice piped up. "Mama, are the monsters back?" Elias grabbed Lila's elbow. "We need to move. Now." But it was too late. Shadows detached from alleyways. Figures in tattered cloaks with eyes reflecting the crimson light. Their leader stepped forward, bone charms clattering around his neck. "The Harbinger awakens," he rasped, reaching toward the crystal. "You've brought it to us, just as prophesied." Lila backed away, clutching the artifact to her chest. "Yeah, no, finders keepers." The cultist's smile revealed filed teeth. "Then we'll keep you too." Elias drew his dagger, its edge glinting in the unnatural light. "Lila, yeah. Next time, we really do stick to libraries." The cultists surged forward as the sky burned above them, the final act beginning at last. The cultists closed in like a noose, tightening, their ragged breaths hissing through the square. Elias spun his dagger, backing against Lila as the crimson light from the crystal painted their faces in eerie shades. "Well," Lila muttered, "this escalated quickly." Elias shot her a look. "You think?" The lead cultist raised a clawed hand. "The Harbinger must be awakened. Give it to us, and your deaths will be swift." Lila's grip on the crystal tightened. "Sorry, but I don't do swift deaths. I'm more of a long, dramatic escape type." Elias exhaled sharply. "Could you not taunt the murder cult?" Before she could retort, the crystal pulsed violently in her hands, sending a shockwave through the square. The ground trembled, cobblestones cracking as something beneath them stirred. The cultists froze, their eyes widening in something like fear. "It's too soon," one whispered. A deafening roar split the air as the clock tower they'd fled earlier exploded outward, rubble raining down as an enormous, shadow-wreathed form unfurled from within. A monstrous creature with too many limbs and eyes that burned like embers. Elias's mouth went dry. "That is definitely worse than spikes." The cultists fell to their knees, chanting as the beast turned its gaze toward the crystal in Lila's hands. Its voice shook the earth. "Mine." Lila swallowed hard, but stood her ground. "Okay, new plan." Elias grabbed her arm. "Running. Running is the plan." They bolted as the creature lunged, its claws gouging furrows in the ground where they'd stood seconds before. The cultists screamed as it turned on them first, their chants dissolving into chaos. Lila risked a glance back, her breath ragged. "Is it killing its worshippers?" "Rude." Elias yanked her around a corner. "Less commentary, more surviving." The beast's howl shook the buildings as it gave chase, its massive form smashing through walls like they were paper. The crystal in Lila's hands grew hotter, its light flickering between red and blue. "It's reacting to the monster," she realized. Elias dodged a falling signpost. "Great. Can it react by stopping the monster?" Lila skidded to a halt in the middle of the street, turning to face the creature. Only one way to find out. Elias's heart nearly stopped. "Lila, no." She raised the crystal high, its light flaring blindingly bright. Hey, ugly, catch! With all her strength, she hurled the artifact straight into the beast's gaping maw. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the creature convulsed, its body glowing from within as cracks of blue light spiderwebbed across its form. It let out a final, ear-splitting shriek before exploding into a storm of shadows and light. The shockwave threw Elias and Lila off their feet. When the dust settled, the crystal lay amidst the debris, dull and lifeless. Elias groaned, sprawled on his back. Please tell me that's the end of it. Lila sat up, wincing. Well, the monster's gone, the cultists are scattered, and the artifact's inert. She grinned. I'd call that a win. Elias stared at the sky, exhausted. We're never doing this again. Lila laughed, hauling him to his feet. Sure, we are. Just maybe after a nap. As dawn broke over the ruined square, the two of them limped away, battered but alive. Somewhere in the distance, a lone howl echoed, but for now, the city was quiet. For now. And that was the end of the story. Comment below if you want the next chapter, and hit that like button. Please subscribe, turn on the bell, and as always, keep the last light burning.